Hey there guys, I'm Lee Williamson and today I'm going to show you 3 secondary animation tips that I used while animating the Thundercats Sword of Omens. Everything from the blade being swiped, to light shining off the sword, to power emitting from the eye of the sword. So without further ado, let's dig in. So I want to show how I created this secondary wipe on the end of the sword. So I created a circle spline and then a rectangle spline, pressed T on the keyboard, scaled it down, and I put these both in a sweep. Then I put the height of the rectangle down to 1, so it's a nice skinny circle. And now inside your sweep settings, you have a start and end growth very much similar to your trim paths inside of After Effects. So let's animate these. So if you notice, I pull them up and down, they animate, which is great. So we're going to set these both to 50. Okay, let's start that on 50. I'm going to drop a keyframe on end growth, move it up to frame 10, and put this to 100. Cool. So it's going to animate in. And then I'm going to drop a keyframe on the start growth, just a few frames before that, like frame 6. And then I'm going to make this end growth also go in to 100% at the very end. So essentially it's drawing in and drawing off like that. Cool. So now the next thing I need to do is animate the width of the object, so essentially the thickness of that line. So I can drop a keyframe over there and then get up to frame 10 and put that down to, say, 10 centimeters. So what will happen now is it'll be thick over there and get thinner as it goes to the end. And it's nice and whippy. Great stuff. And then all I need to do is create a material. So I can drag a material on there. And for my purposes, it's just going to be a flat white color. So I'll use it on the luminant channel. And there we go, a nice circle wipe effect. So next I wanted to pull off this secondary animation that comes when the sword swipes down. So you see this ring around here and goes boom. Show you how I did that. Yeah. So once again, create a circle spline, and inside your circle spline settings you should have a ring setting, and we're going to pull that radius, inner radius, down quite low so it's nice and thick inside there. And we're going to get an extrude. We're going to drag that spline into the extrude, and we're going to make its thickness down to 1 centimeter so it's nice and thin. This one's quite simple, so all we need to do is animate that inner radius. So we drop a keyframe over there, bring it up to 10, and leave just enough thickness inside of there, and drop another keyframe inside there. So you got boom. And if we go into our F-curve manager, we can just play around with those curves a little bit. It's just nice and impactful the way it comes in slowly and then gets it comes in fast and then peters out a little bit slower. Cool. So the next thing we need to do is go to our basics tab on our extrude, and we're just going to turn, we don't want to see this on the first frame, so we can essentially just turn them off. Drop a keyframe there, and on the very next keyframe we're going to turn them back on. So it'll go boom, and then as it gets to that last frame, that should be the last frame there. We're going to turn it off once again and go one keyframe before and keep it on. There we go. So it's just going to shoot forward. I mean, we could probably just take these 2 frames and just move them one more forward so we can see a little bit more of that frame. There we go. So boom. And once again, we can just create a new material, drag on top of there, and also make that material white in the luminance channel. So it's a nice solid white. Boom. So I want to show how I animate the spark coming out of the eye of the sword. Now, first of all, that was drawn with the PNG sequence I showed at the beginning of my animation series. And this spark coming out of the sword now is done inside Cinema 4D. So let's show you how that was done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a plane. I'm going to put that plane width down, scale it down like that. Cool. And I'm going to give it a taper. And I just have to rotate that taper so it actually tapers the plane correctly. And then I just fit to parent. This taper is a little bit too round, so I've realized that I need to take the segments out so it's nice and straight. And then I can turn the taper off in the viewport. And then I'm going to create a cloner. Drop this inside a cloner and rotate out the, wait a minute, one sec. We'll change that object mode to radius, and then go into transform and just rotate that 90 degrees and pull out the radius. There we go. Cool. So we got all the little cloners here. And one thing I've realized I've done is my taper is wrong around. So if I press rotate on my keyboard, let's just rotate that. There we go. Perfect. And taper is probably a little bit too strong, so we can just loosen up a bit. Cool. Then I'm going to duplicate that same plane that I created, and in this one I might want to just take my width down, no, maybe my height down on my plane, and who knows, take the taper and make it slightly different so it's a little bit sharper. No, I'll leave it like that, that's fine. Cool. And then just maybe bring up the count. Cool. And then what I'm going to do is animate this little spark. So all we're going to do is animate the radius. So drop a keyframe on the radius, drag it up to say 15, and just make it go as high as possible. So let's just play that, press spacebar on the keyboard. Cool. Now we want it also to disappear at the same time. So what you can do is we can click on both planes. Actually, let's click on the first, this one, and click on the record radio button on the width and the height, and then go up to, what was it, frame 15. Record on the width and height there again. I'll go back and just put that on 0. No, sorry, it's going to be 0 at the very end. So make our width and height 0. Cool. So now it disappears as it goes off, and I'm going to do the same thing with my plane over here. I'm going to record the width and height, go out to frame 15, put that to 0, and drop a keyframe on there, and there we go. And there we have our spark. Now the next thing I need to show you, just to make all these blingy things work well, cool little trick, is, so I'm going to take this sweep and I'm going to go into an animation with the sword. Now I'm just going to press on the sweep Alt G, and let's just call this bling for any old sake. So first of all, I might not want this sweep to be so big. So the reason I put in a null is I now can shrink it. So I press T on my keyboard and I can scale it down to any size I want. But you know, what if the sword was over here and it was rotated at this angle, and suddenly, darn, I can't get this wipe to match up with the sword. So the cool thing you can do is you can drag the bling underneath the sword. You can go into your coordinates, and all you got to do is zero these out, and what happens is it gets the same positional values as your sword, which is freaking awesome. Check that out. And then all I need to do is press spacebar on my keyboard, and maybe I just wanted to bring it further out there. And there we go, it's going at the exact same angle as a sword. You know, we can just take it back out here again, just in case, you know, you didn't want it to be moving with the same movement of the sword. But yeah, give that a try and see how it works. Thank you so much for watching. Cheers guys, bye.